Alright, so what we're going to be working on here are complex numbers, specifically examples of your basic arithmetic operations, addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division of complex numbers. Let's go ahead and get started. So looking up at an addition here, you can see here we have two complex numbers, negative 4 plus 6i and negative 2 plus 3i. And we are adding these two complex numbers. The instructions say write your answer as a complex number in standard form, which means exactly something like this, where you have the real part listed first and then the plus or minus the imaginary part. And the key to all this is that we're going to treat these like terms, namely the real parts we're going to combine and then the imaginary parts we're going to combine. So let's get after it. Negative 4 plus a negative 2 is going to be a negative 6. A 6i plus a 3i is 9i. So negative 6 plus 9i. Hooray! There we go. We're done with that problem. Let's move on to subtraction. It's exactly the same type of thing, only we've got a minus sign in between. So negative 6 minus negative 2 is going to give us negative 4. Remember, subtracting a negative number is the same thing as adding a positive, so it's like negative 6 plus 2. The negative 5 minus, or negative 5i minus 6i, it's going to take us down deeper, negative 11i. And that's it. There's our answer in standard form. Multiplying, still treating things like terms, or treating these complex numbers, sort of doing almost like an algebraic operation, namely FOIL. So let's get after it. 5 times a 2, 10. 5 times a negative 2i, negative 10i. Negative 4i times 2, negative 8i. And a negative 4i times a negative 2i is a positive 8i squared. Now let's go ahead and combine these middle like terms. So 10 over here stays the same. Negative 10i minus 8i is negative 18i. That plus 8i squared, we're going to write that as plus 8 times negative 1, since I squared simplifies to negative 1. So then that whole term there would simplify to negative 8. We have a 10 minus 8, which is going to give us 2, and then minus 18i, that's the imaginary part. So 2 minus 18i is the official answer to this problem. That looks great. And now we'll move on to division. So notice we have, it's a complex number, you could call it, but it happens to be pure imaginary, negative 6i, and 5 minus 4i. So you might wonder, how are we going to deal with this? Well, just recall what I means. It means the square root of negative 1. So this problem really looks like negative 6 times the square root of negative 1 over 5 minus 4 square root of negative 1. And if we saw this, then our algebra skills kick in. We know that we would have to multiply by the conjugate, even if that conjugate happens to be a binomial. So that would be 5 plus 4 times the square root of negative 1 in the denominator, and in the numerator 5 plus 4 square root of negative 1. Remember that anything divided by itself is equal to 1, and any number over here times 1 is equal to itself, though it will look a little bit different. So, but that's messy. Who wants to mess with all those square roots? The whole reason why we have i's, so we don't have to mess with it. So, rewriting that as in its original form with the i's, we're going to multiply this by 5 plus 4i over 5 plus 4i. That makes us nice and happy because we like dealing with i's. So that numerator just turns into like just a distribution type problem. So negative 6i times 5 is a negative 30i. Negative 6i times a 4i is going to be a negative 24i squared. Simplify that in the next step. The denominator looks like one of those FOIL problems we just did, although notice we have an a minus b times an a plus b situation, so that's going to give us a squared minus b squared. So here we go, 5 times 5, 25. Then, like I said, those middle two terms, they'll cancel out. 5 times 4i, negative 4i times 5. It's going to be a plus 20i minus 20i. Those cancel. And then negative 4i times positive 4i is going to give us negative 16i squared. And now we will recall that I squared is really negative 1. So in the numerator we have negative 30i minus 24 times negative 1. Denominator we have 25 minus 16 times, that should not be there. It's not negative 1 squared, it's I squared, but so just erase that from your mind. Anyway, negative 30i plus 24, but I'm going to rewrite this the real part first. So 24 minus 30i. When you combine those, 25 and 16, you get 41. So then we'll split that fraction into two fractions, so 24 over 41 minus 30i over 41. and then make this a little bit more regular, standard, that is. So 24 over 41, that real part's staying the same, but then rewrite this fraction as 30 over 41 times I. Final answer, standard form. Oh, we're so happy. We know how to deal with complex numbers. Thanks for watching.